This is the aftermarket report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date is March 4th, 2019, and I'm going to hand this right over to Miss Vegas.
Okay, well, good evening, everyone. And what an interesting market today. It started off green and then it went red. So I want to talk about KEG. I want to talk about NIO. And I want to talk about the SPY, GE, CHMA, ATRS, and then a bonus bottom play that Jim's going to tell you guys about. So let's just get started and let's talk about KEG, K-E-G. Now, this company here, KEG, I noticed the action on the chart around $3.15 today, and this is an energy stock. It's called Key Energy Services, and they call it KEG. And they're very involved in so many things. They do water management, they service wells, they provide rental services. They do intervention, they do cementing. I mean, they just do all kinds of things. So they have 150 locations, and they're all across the U.S. And very interesting website. I actually impressed with the website. So you could definitely check it out if you like energy stocks. So this company, this chart today, when it was moving, I did notice it obviously at $3.15, and I said to everyone that was interested in looking to trade the stock that the reason I liked the trade, and actually for a swing trade as well, if they decided they would want to hold the stock, was I did notice that the chart was in a brand new uptrend. And I like when a chart is in a new uptrend because it tells me that it's going to go into a new channel, one that we have not seen in some time. And you know what? I will say I wasn't really expecting it to go this high today. I mean, it did go as high as 392. However, it has pulled back to about 375. But you know what? Still an excellent trade. It had 1.25 million shares traded today, and quite impressed with the expansion breakout on the stock. So I think we're going to see potentially more from the company in terms of this actual ticker. And I'll just turn it right over to Jim and let us know what's coming up next.
Well, as we can see on this yearly chart, this stock was at $18.40, and I am also amazed about the company itself. It has a lot going on, a lot. And so this is the year's chart. We did break out of that 50 SMA here about 4 or 5 days ago, and she had a nice little bounce up to a resistance level and then kind of settled down a little bit. And then today we had the big breakout, which hit another resistance here right around 395, pretty close to it. So I'm going to pull up the 20-day chart and show you the little breakout we've had for a week on this stock. It was down here at 164 20 days ago, and then today we hit a high of 393. I had a 395 resistance, and I can be off a penny or two, or the stock could be off a penny or two. It depends on who won the tug of war. So she did bounce up. She settled right there at the resistance level at 374 after hours, where that base of that candle is. This is a 20-day chart. You can go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days when we had the breakout. So let me pull up the 5-day and we can have a closer look at it. Had a nice little breakout from that 184, bounced up, hit resistance here right around 294, which is where the 200 SMA is on a 5-day, 5-minute. Then today she curled up on that 20-day SMA, pulled back a little bit under it one time, found a little support level there right around 311, and that happened pretty much around 11:35 Midwestern time, and then she went ahead and jumped on up to another resistance of 375. Kind of held around here, pulled back to that 20 again, and then bounced to that 375, and then right before close she jumped up to 395, and here we sit at 375. So I'm going to look at, and I'm going to try to pull up another resistance level that we can go to on this, or we can first we'll pull up pullbacks just in case it wants to pull back. I'm looking at a 333 support level, and maybe another level right here, right around 356, where that 50-day SMA is. And I do like to play off them SMAs. Now this can pull back first thing in the morning and then bounce back up to this resistance level at 375. So you still might be able to get you a dead cat bounce on it if it does pull back tomorrow. You know, today was kind of a strange day with the stocks pulling back with a SPY because of politics, but it's usually politics as usual. So let me go ahead and pull this up to 180 day. And I want to magnify it just a little bit, see if I can find me another resistance in here. And right there I see one at 425. So if this decides to break that 395 level, I would see her go up to 425, consolidate, and maybe bounce up to the 454 area and the 486. But we have, I mean, this is a real hard sell-off for a good 3 months. I mean, just ugly. Not really ugly, little bitty sell-offs all the time, every day. And we are starting to retrace and rebound at a faster pace than the sell-off itself. So this could be a healthy gain. So the resistance levels, let me bring it up to you one more time. After 395, we're going to try to get to 422, 425 area, 454, and 486. And we'll pull up the 5-minute or the 5-day. Support level on this stock is going to be between this channel of 311 and 333. You got your third, second, and your first support. It's going to be right here at 356. This is KEG, so don't think it's a keg of beer. It has a lot more to do with that than just a keg of beer. Next one we're going to talk about will be the pullback on NIO today. And I think Miss
Yeah.
Vegas.
Well, you know what? I mean, I was just gotta say, like, I mean, I will comment probably when I talk about the SPY a little bit, but you know, when I look at this, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P, I mean, interestingly, I was looking the three charts. I'm staring at them right now. The daily charts, all three of them look like triplets. They're identical. It's almost like they just followed each other to the T. And they, you know, they all pulled back around the same time of day, and then they all started recovering at the same time. I mean, these look like triplets to me. The three charts. So as a result, you know, we did see a pullback in NIO today. I mean, it opened up, actually above the 10 at 1032. I mean, it actually went as high like it's 1037, but then it had a pullback all the way down to 15. So I'm going to turn it over to Jim because he did identify actually a triple bottom play as well and called it beautifully. So Jim, I'm just going to pass it on to you because, you know, we want to know what's happening with NIO because there's also earnings tomorrow.
Yep.
So who knows what's going to happen here?
Yeah, we did have a double top today on a 5-day chart. It did hit that 1064 area. I mean, almost identical from the previous high that we had right here, 1064. And I think if I pull this up, it's going to say 1064, 1063 on it also. But then, as Vegas said, I did identify a triple bottom support level right in here. That level was right at 954. That's where I got in at. And then she went ahead and knifed down a little more, down to this other support level at 929. And we did hit a low of 914, but it did recover nicely. I was able to get out with a profit. And here we pulled back again after hours to that triple bottom. So now we're looking at a quad bottom. And let me pull up the day. You can see kind of a funny, when we called this out on our aftermarket reports that it was going to bounce, and it did. It did bounce. It bounced pre-morning up to 1063 from our little point we were talking about at 10 bucks. So that was a 60-cent bounce. And then just it followed the SPY all the way down, which is kind of unusual for this stock. But it did, like everything else did. It just kind of think the algorithms just went ahead and took all these stocks down, and we had opportunities to buy on dips. So she did run up to that 991 area resistance level, and you can see what I mean by resistance. It was yesterday's channel for a support level. We did hit that. She did kind of pull back to the squiggly lines right here. I have the 200, the 100, the 50, and the 20-day. And then right after hours, you see that 20-day cross down, and so did the stock itself. And it fell right back to that support level of 954. and she bounced right up to 969. So I think earnings are going to be good on this stock when they come out, and I'm pretty sure it's going to bounce. I'm still very bullish on the company and the stock itself, and the only time will tell, and we'll know what it's going to do tomorrow. But after today's was kind of unusual. I did not expect it to go down to this 950 area at all. I had a target price of right around 10 bucks in this area right in here for it to break out, and it did. But then it pulled back and touched that 10 once and bounced up to about 10.20 and finally just gave up, and she went ahead and pulled back real hard, and I think it was an overextended sell-off. So let's keep an eye on NIO. If it dips any more tomorrow, I'm going to be back in it, and I'm going to scalp it for sure. But I'm in this trade for a long time, and I do believe this company will run to 20 bucks by the end of the year. And that is NIO. And the next one we're going to talk about is the SPY.
Yeah, so people were wondering like today, what's going on with the SPY? Why is the SPY pulling back? It opened up so beautifully. It was just so bullish in the morning, first thing. And, at the end of the day, I guess politics and can trigger these kinds of behaviors. And we'll just leave it at that. So, what do you do in these kind of situations? I mean, I will say this. People that had stocks that were green, a lot of them decided to, obviously put a stop loss, which they should have anyways. Or, people that have a mental stop started putting in some hard stops. People were actually taking profits. They wanted to be in cash positions. They did not want to have any stocks holding into the overnight. And, at the same time, it's like, I don't really short stocks personally. I would be a horrible shorter. I'm not really comfortable shorting stocks. But I was, comfortable with obviously reading the pullback. And I thought, I have to try to help the individuals that were having a hard time today where they didn't want to trade stocks because it was a tough day in some cases. So I was able to collaborate with the options group. And as you guys know, my focus is to help the small accounts. And you know what? I was able to alert a really interesting setup. So, nothing that is out of the ordinary. I mean, I'm sure these are shared in with other great traders that I know out there that are great at finding the same setups. But I was happy to spot the setup very quickly. The move happened so fast. So I alerted the SPY puts, and Jim, I think, can show you guys that.
Yep.
So I alerted the SPY puts. It was a SPY put of 279, and I paid 41 cents. And I bought that at 11:25 this morning, and you can see that I sold it at 12:04. And what a difference it makes from like putting the order in at 12:04 exact, and I can't, and then I got, I canceled it and then put it back in because it was now starting to go the other way. But anyways, had I held this longer, I sold it for $1.33, so $41 turned into $133. So that's not bad. I mean, that's a little shy of $100 profit, but the thing is, it was made in like half an hour. And if I actually would have held this longer, this went to over $200. I would have probably made easily $180, $160 on a $41 put. So very pleased that people that took that actually did well. Oh, sorry, that's my dog here. We'll see what he needs. So anyhow, sorry about that, guys. So that worked out, and we'll see what happens with the SPY. But it was starting to close a little more bullish, so I'm hoping for a green day tomorrow. But it was a bit rough, as you can imagine. So, Jim, over to you.
All right. Well, the SPY did take a horrible turn today, and I'm going to show the correlation to what NIO did with the SPY. As you can see, when that SPY started heading down, almost the exact same diagram with the NIO heading down. And then once they decided to turn around, both of them turned around about the same time, same day, and they started bouncing up. So this could have been like a good put play, and also it could have been a very smart call play on the way back up. The SPY was. So let me pull up that I think it's this one here. Yep. We'll take this off. Give me some more room to look at it here. So this was a real sharp downturn, man. I haven't seen something like this in a while. And once it happened about midday, she started turning around. And when she turned around very well. She went from 276.84 down here and hit a high of right around 279.50. And that's a pretty good little bounce. It's, you know, a little under $3. But then she kind of consolidated right here. And let's pull up a 5-day and look at this chart. People were expecting this thing to start heading down in a way because of that sharp tumble we had yesterday. It was almost like a repeat, but a smaller one. I mean, this was a lot higher. It did hit a double top up here. Once it hit that double top, I had a resistance level at 281.24 on this thing already drawn out. And then we went above it and after hours. And then when she pulled back to that support level, she went ahead and bounced back up and failed that double top right at morning. And then she just went ahead and took these big plunges down. I mean, huge plunges. And so she bounced back up to about the pivot point area. We're going to keep an eye on this tomorrow. This will probably dictate how the market's going to run. I do believe we're getting up there too high for it right now. And the sentiment out there with all the ugly politics going on can move this thing around, make it volatile. And I think that's exactly what happened today. Unexpected, but it did. And the next one we're going to talk about is going to be ATRS.
Okay, well, my dog won't seem to settle down, so hopefully you guys will understand. And I thought we were going to talk about, which one, Jim? I thought we were going to talk about GE.
Okay, well, I can talk about GE real fast.
Okay.
That
was on the list in this order. Weren't you going to talk about the GE puts?
Yeah.
The GE option calls?
Yeah, I got to pull it over here.
Okay.
So today, Vegas and I talked about GEs, and we were talking about how inexpensive they were. And I bought me an April. Today I bought me an April GE call on the pullback. And I'm going to show you the chart here first. She kind of was down here in a way. She pulled back to $10 yesterday, and then this morning she broke out pretty good and hit my little resistance level at 10.48, which I've mentioned many a times in the room and on the YouTube channel. And then she went ahead and pulled back down to that $10 area, 10.24, and that's when I got into this thing. So I bought me 5 contracts for the April. It was for April 18th. Earnings come out on the 19th. And so this thing got in at 37 cents, and right now we're sitting at 40. So she's looking pretty good. But this is the call I made. I made the 5 contracts at 37 cents, April 18th. And basically, I think it's going to run up to that $11 strike price easily, very easily. That's where I am on it. Hopefully I'll get to that $11 and we'll run to that 13 that some of the fat cats have been talking about. I do believe we got in at a pretty good support level, and that is GE, and we're bullish on GE. We've been bullish on GE ever since it was down at $7, and I'm still bullish on it when it's at 10. And I do believe we're going to see 11, and I think Miss Vegas picked some up too, and we're going to ride that out. And we got a whole month to play around with this stock, a whole month and a couple weeks. So the next one we're going to talk about is going to be ATRS.
Okay, well, I guess I'll bring up ATRS because I didn't have it in that order. Just one second.
Well, which one do you want to talk about?
It's okay. We'll talk about ATRS. So ATRS Pharma here, after hours, is showing me here at 379 and opened up today at 378. So we haven't really made a lot of progress. However, there was very good volume on the stock today. The high of day was 396. and the volume was nice, 1.89 million. But the reason I bring this to your attention was because I like the fact that the stock has made a 52-week high. And, you know, I really like stocks making 52-week highs. And when was the last time, Jim, that this had a 52-week high on
Oh,
ATRS?
I'll have to look here.
Okay, so while Jim's checking that out, you know, this particular company is called ATRS CHMA, and they actually provide, you know, medical instruments and supplies. And just so you know, and we might see some action on the stock tomorrow. I'm not sure. They will be tomorrow presenting at the Raymond James 40th Annual Institutional Investors Conference tomorrow. And that will be, they're going to present at 10:25 a.m. And they also brought a new member on the board, Dr. Karen Smith. She's joined the board. And they have in the pipeline quite a few things. One of them that's in the pipeline is the EpiPen, which, by the way, they have partnership with Teva Pharmaceuticals on that one. And they have a couple other ones where they have a development with Pfizer. They are not disclosing the product and they're not disclosing the molecule. And that one's in a preclinical trial. So they have actually quite a few things. And what's nice that I like about this company is out of all the stuff they've had in their pipeline, 7 different things, they've already had 2 out of 7 that have gone to the market. So they went through the preclinical, they went through the clinical, they filed with the FDA, they got approved, and then it went to the market. So that's really impressive to see. So they have quite a few things going on, and I think there's potential good progress coming up on ATRS. And Jim, what are you thinking of the chart? And when was the last time we had a 52-weeker?
Oh, we come close to it a couple times. Then we had the last time we had the double top high was back here on back in October the 4th, somewhere around that. We had about a 5-day high. It didn't want to break that 381. So then she went ahead and pulled back to a support level and tried to go up to it again. And we had a double top, triple top right around. And today, I mean, it's quadruple if you count this week, this last week, right here, right around the 367 area. So yeah, this stock's had some times where it's tried to reach this 52, but it just couldn't get there. 3 times in a row, or 3 times in between that one big M right here where it hit that 381, which is actually off the wick. It'd be right around 393, so that's where we're going to put that little trend line. And today she broke past that 393 to 396. But we did have a hard sell-off back in that rough month of December, and she bounced right back up. Beautiful little run from a support level of right around 264 up to 396 today. So let's pull up a daily chart. First I'll pull up a 20-day just to have a look at it. So this started breaking out about a week and a half ago, maybe around last Friday. That was that Monday, and she jumped on up. She ran all the way up here to about 381, created a little doji there, and then pulled back to the 50 SMA and bounced up and tried to break that 1-year resistance here. And I'm going to pull up a 3-year chart on this thing just to have you look at it real fast. And we tried to do that back here. We did break that back here on 10, but same time, October 4th, the 9th, right around in there. She did try to break that resistance and got up there to 409, pulled back and went ahead and ran back up and tried it again, and she pulled back, and that was that bad December. And here we are at it again. So I'm thinking maybe it'll have enough push this time. And I was glad to hear that it did have something to do with that EpiPen that Teva has out. That's interesting. I didn't know that until just now. So this gives me a little bit of opportunity to say we might break that old resistance that we had back here on a couple years ago at 409. We did break that resistance that we had last year about the same time, same day. And so we're going to keep a good eye. I'm going to pull up the daily just to show you how the run today was. She did kind of run up good yesterday. Then right first thing out of the gate, she ran to that 496 and pulled back to I would call a pretty good little support area, a 375. So I'm going to draw a trend line right there just in case it wants to pull back. Then I'm going to put another one right in here because I think we'll hit that 372 area if it decides to pull back a little bit. But I'd like to see this pick up some momentum and break that resistance of 396 tomorrow. That's what we got to break. We got to break that to 396. And I'm going to put a little trend line right there. And we have a little resistance level right here at 386 that we're going to try to bust out too. This is ATRS. I'm not sure which way it wants to go. It's not sure either, but we did hit that 52-week high today. And the next one, Miss Vegas?
Yes, the next one that we have here is going to be on CH. So CHMA is called CHMA Inc. And you know, I didn't know that, but this actual company is located in Israel. And you guys know I'm a fan of Israeli tickers, but their corporate headquarters is in Massachusetts. But they have a division in Israel. And what they do is they focus on various different conditions, but they're developing a capsule that's going to help adult patients deal with acromegaly. So this is, you know, in the endocrinology sector, and it deals with the metabolism, and it's a phase 3 trial. So the reason I like this one too is when I was looking at the actual chart on CHMA, I was really impressed with it. I liked the volume on it. I really like the fact, again, this is a stock making a new 52-week high. There's also an expansion breakout on the stock today, actually. And you know what? I don't have a position in the stock, but I got to tell you, this really interests me based on even today's market action. The stock opened up at 440, went as high as 489. And so even though it's uncrowded, I am looking for this to have a continuation. So I will definitely be looking a lot closer at this tomorrow. And I'd like to hear, Jim, your thoughts on the chart, please.
Yeah, well, she had a year low of 120, and you can tell how she broke out pretty much out of that 120 low real fast, real hard. Ran up to 170, 184, consolidated, and then she's been on a nice little run there. Created a double top, pretty close much a double top here at 424. And then back in December, had that hard sell-off that I've mentioned on my crystal ball before to a low support around 213. And then we created another support right in here, right around 338. And I'm drawing this up to you as I see it. And I'm going to put me another little trend line right here at 279. I'm looking to see where I can pull. If it wants to pull back, it will. But we did have the 52 breakout today. And she ran to 489. And that's kind of a double top area from that previous high. And that could just be a fat finger here, which it probably is. Probably just a little fat finger that somebody messed up, and it did kind of pull back to that support level and then bounced on up to resistance, created a double top. So let's pull up the 20-day, have a good look at it. Right there at 444, I can see that support level. See another one right in here. Then we have the resistance level right here at 476, 476, yep, right on the button. Then we're going to pull it up to a daily. So we're looking at a 52-week high is what we're looking at. We want it to break out. Had a resistance high here at 489. I can see it tried to do it, but it decided it didn't want to. Then I'm going to draw me another support right here at 465. So, and then I'm going to put one here, just maybe if it gets a little oversold, that'll be it. So it's kind of hard to say what this stock wants to do. It was kind of didn't do a thing most of the day here. Then all of a sudden, I mean, hardly any volume at all. Hardly any at all. And then all of a sudden, about power hour or a little bit before power hour. We had a big spike up on it. You can tell by the volume bars down here, and you can tell by the volume bars right in here that nothing hardly happened at all. So let's keep this on watch. I think it can pull back a little bit just by looking at the volume on it. Not too impressive in a way, but the chart does look impressive. As you look at, as I pull up the yearly, it had a real nice run, and then that solid pullback during the crash of December, and then she just regained her consciousness and come right back up here. So we're sitting at a 52-week high right now, and let's see if we can break that 52-week. If not, we're going to pull back to the support level of 424, 423, and that's where it can't go. It cannot go any lower than that. And I'm going to look at the daily just one more time. Yeah, this 424 is a low support. I'd say the pivot point on this channel is right around 444 to 450. And if she wants to break out, run off this 50 SMA, that'll suit me fine. Past the 489. That's CHMA.
Great. Thank you for the details, because I'm all about the details. So I hope that when you guys are listening, that especially if the stock is of interest, you should definitely be writing all this information down, because there's no way you can memorize it all. So then last but not least, I really have to say I'm impressed with this company's website. I do want to mention Jim's bottom play bonus, and this is on ZKIN, Zedkin. And this company, what they do, they manufacture and engineer stainless steel and carbon steel pipes. They also, for water and gas pipeline, they also work with real estate developers, government, and they also have patented technology. They got many awards in the past. But this is a China stock as well. And they're located in Zhejiang in China. And they got like many things, many products. I mean, you should take a look at their website. But they very into pipe fitting. They're in steel pipes, pipe connections. Very interesting. But, you know, me as a woman, I don't care about pipes. So I just care about this chart. So I'm going to let Jim talk about the stock and why he likes this bottom play. And I look forward to hearing about it, because this has intrigued me too. So, Jim, let's hear for Zetkin.
All right. Well, I do believe it's a bottom play, and I'm going to pull up the chart here, have a look at it. ZKIN. Now, I've been in this stock for about a week, and I got in at a I thought was going to be a breakout time, and it did not break out. It pulled back. I got in here right around 152, and this was last week, and then she went ahead and pulled back to my support level at 137. So I was telling people about it in the room, along with another member in the room that brought it to my attention. And I respect the guy pretty much, so I took, and I noticed that they were one of the top 10 companies in China, which really caught my attention. And I also know that revenue jumped up 22% at record levels here on their last earnings report. So that impressed me also, being the top 10 company in China, plus hitting that list, and plus having a big revenue bounce. So I'm looking at a bottom play on this thing, and I'm going to pull up a year's chart and show you exactly what I'm talking about. We had a yearly high of here right around the $7.30 area, and we've had a pretty kind of decent sell-off where she just pulled back to the 125, and we had a double bottom here at the 125 area, right around 129, 128. So I'm going to magnify this up just a little bit. Let you have a look at it. I mean, I think this thing's really oversold. Oh, about 20 days ago, we had a big run on this thing when the earnings came in with that 22% increase, which they were really impressed with. Ran all the way up to about $4.18. So she created a support right here, right around 266. Well, I was excited about it when I got in, just the fact that it was one of the top 10 rated companies in China, and another fact that the revenue was up so good. So that's why I decided to go ahead and get in it. And then today, after hours, let me pull up the 1 minute. We did have a run right after hours. She ran up to that resistance level again at 159. I had a 160, and then she just pulled back just a little bit to 155. So I went ahead and bought me a few more shares down here at the 137, 138 level. I think if I look back, it was right around the 140 level. And she went ahead, and that was a couple days ago when she was down here. So I'm doubled up on it. I do believe this stock can run, and I just have to be patient and wait for it. So I'm in it for the long haul. This is my lottery play, and it definitely is at a year's bottom. And it just, the China, I think, is getting ready to rebound. We had a bunch of China stocks that outdid the markets in the USA today, and JMU. There was a couple others that ran up, and so I'm just thinking that we're getting close to that period. And I'm down here, like I said, about right now she's sitting at a 155. She closed at 146, ran up after hours. So I can't wait to see how this thing runs tomorrow or how it acts. If not, I'm still going to hold on to it for the long haul. And that's ZKIN. I do believe we're going to get a bounce on it. And you
All right.
And I'm going to just pull up this 20-day real fast. See, that's where we got in last time. So she pulled back to that 140, 138 level. And so we'll just have to see. And that's it. ZKIN.
Well, ZKIN, the Zedkin for the win. So,
Yep.
you know, I have to say probably like one, if this ever has a PR, I mean, the earnings are good. And the reason the earnings were good is because they're helping the city replace the pipelines for the water. So that's where they got, you know, basically government contract is what's making them get them. That's how they made their money. And, you know, those contracts with the government are pretty good. But anyhow, you know, if this company had like a PR come out, I think this would, you know, obviously any PR makes a stock move, but this could really send it flying because the earnings were good. So keep it on a watch. I mean, Jim's in the stock, and you know, for those of you that like bottom plays, I mean, even if you are to take a swing trade potential on a bottom like this, you could always take a starter. You know, if you're going to take, let's say, 1,000 shares, maybe don't buy 1,000 right away. You start small. Maybe you do 100 shares, 200 shares, and then when it starts to move in the direction that you're comfortable with, you might then want to add, and then see, you know, making sure that the stock is trending in the direction you need it to go, which is up, right?
Yep. And like she said, you know, don't chase it. Let it, if it does come back, look for that 137, 141 area.
Absolutely. And I like what Jim guidance. And again, just a reminder, we just sharing ideas. No one needs to buy anything we say or follow anything we do. We just like to share openly what we look at, why we like it. We're not licensed professionals in any way, shape, or form. So if you are looking to have a longer term investment, please speak to your licensed advisor and a licensed professional. And on that note, I want to thank everyone for hanging out with us on the market report. And I really hope that we'll have a much better day tomorrow and that we can report a lot more exciting stocks that you may want to consider trading.
All right. This is the aftermarket report with Vegas and Jim. Today's date. Oh, yes. Please don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell for future updates. And today's date is March 4th, 2019. And we love stocks.